In a quiet town in Tarlac, what began as a petty neighborhood dispute would soon erupt into one of the most shocking crimes ever caught on camera in the Philippines. On December 20th, 2020, the world witnessed the horrifying moment when a mother and her son were gunned down in broad daylight. Not by criminals lurking in the shadows, but by a police officer sworn to serve and protect. The video spread like wildfire, igniting outrage across the nation, sparking debates on police brutality, and forcing Filipinos to ask, how many more lives must be lost before change comes? This is the story of the Tarlac police shooting, a tragedy that shook the nation and revealed the cracks in a system built on power and impunity. You're listening to Pinoy True Crime Story, where we uncover the Philippines' most haunting and unforgettable cases through immersive storytelling that takes you straight to the heart of the crime. The quiet afternoon in Paniqui, Tarlac, was supposed to be ordinary. Families were gathering, children playing, and the air filled with the simple noise of a neighborhood going about its day. Among the families living there were the Gregorios, Sonya and Frank, a mother and son, known by neighbors for their simplicity and warmth. They lived humbly, content with their everyday lives. But on that fateful day, December 20th, 2020, their lives would end in one of the most shocking and widely condemned acts of violence caught on camera in Philippine history. It began with what seemed like a petty neighborhood quarrel. The sound of improvised firecrackers, boga, echoed through the street. It was a tradition during the holiday season, a playful noise children and families had long enjoyed. But for one man, it was a source of anger. Police Senior Master Sergeant Jonel Nuezca, an off-duty officer, confronted the Gregorio family about the noise. What should have been a small dispute, one that could easily be resolved with patience, suddenly escalated. The cell phone camera started recording. In the frame, Sonya Gregorio could be seen holding her son, Frank, close. Frank resisted, pulling away, while Sonya tried to protect him, shielding him with her arms. Around them, voices rose, tempers flared, and then words that chilled anyone who would later watch the footage. Sonya saying, record this, so that people will know what he's doing." The camera captured every second. The shouting grew louder, insults traded, but still, no one imagined the horror that was about to unfold. Without warning, Nuezca pulled out his firearm. 2 deafening gunshots rang out. First, Frank fell. Then, Sonya collapsed, her body shielding her son until her last breath. The screams of onlookers pierced the air, children crying, neighbors frozen in disbelief. The killer did not flee. He simply walked away, as if nothing had happened, returning to his home mere steps from where the crime occurred. The video spread online within hours. Social media erupted with outrage, disbelief, and anger. Millions watched in horror as the footage circulated, a chilling, undeniable piece of evidence of brutality and abuse of power. The Philippines, already grappling with issues of violence, corruption, and accountability in law enforcement, found itself face to face with a crime that could not be silenced, denied, or hidden. Jonel Nuezca was no stranger to controversy. Records later revealed that he had faced multiple administrative and criminal cases in the past, from grave misconduct to homicide. Yet, despite this history, he remained in service, armed and in uniform. For many Filipinos, this case symbolized something deeper than one man's act of violence. It was a reflection of a system that allowed officers with questionable records to continue wearing the badge, a system that failed to hold those in power accountable until it was too late. The killings of Sonya and Frank Gregorio became a national reckoning. News outlets covered the tragedy relentlessly. Senators and officials condemned the act, and the public demanded justice not just for the victims, but for every nameless individual who had suffered in silence at the hands of those sworn to protect. The Philippine National Police found itself under scrutiny once again, with citizens asking how many more cases like this had happened away from the cameras, unseen and unheard. In court, the video evidence was undeniable. Nuezca pleaded not guilty, but the horror of that December day played over and over again in the minds of witnesses and in the courtroom. In August 2021, less than a year after the crime, the verdict was handed down. Nuezca was found guilty of 2 counts of murder and sentenced to reclusion perpetua, or life imprisonment, for each count. He was also ordered to pay damages to the Gregorio family. It was, for many, a rare glimpse of justice served swiftly in the Philippine legal system. But justice, though delivered, could not undo the pain. The Gregorio family lost a mother and a son in the blink of an eye. Their absence left wounds that would never fully heal. For the community, the street where the killings happened would forever carry the memory of violence. And for the nation, the case became a symbol, a reminder of how dangerous unchecked power can be, and how fragile life is when those tasked to protect choose violence instead. In November 2021, less than a year after his conviction, Jonel Nuezca was found dead inside his jail cell at the New Bilibid prison. Authorities reported that he had collapsed and was pronounced dead on arrival at the prison hospital. His sudden death sparked mixed reactions. Some called it karma, others pitied his family. But for many, his demise could never balance the scales. The loss of Sonya and Frank was permanent, their lives cut short by a man who should never have been in uniform. The Tarlac police shooting case remains etched in the collective memory of Filipinos as one of the clearest, most undeniable cases of police brutality in the country's history. It forced conversations about accountability, reform, and the culture of impunity that had plagued institutions for so long. The cell phone camera, held firmly in those tense minutes, became the silent witness that ensured the truth could never be erased. This is the story of Sonya and Frank Gregorio, a mother's instinct to protect her child, a son's life taken too soon, and the courage of a community that made sure the world would not look away. Their tragedy exposed the cracks in a system meant to uphold peace and order, and their names continue to be spoken whenever Filipinos demand justice, fairness, and change. Here on Pinoy True Crime Story, we remember Sonya and Frank. Their story is not just about a crime. It is about the power of truth, the demand for justice, and the hope that by remembering, the nation will learn and change. Because behind every headline, every viral video, and every court verdict are real people. Families torn apart, lives stolen, and voices that must never be silenced. Thank you for listening. If you found this story powerful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Pinoy True Crime Story for more of the Philippines' most haunting and unforgettable true crime cases. Until next time, let us never forget the price of silence and the importance of truth.